What if the job you rely on today no longer exists in 10 years? Not because you failed, not because you were careless, but because a machine learned to do it faster, cheaper, and without ever needing sleep. Imagine waking up in 2035 and realizing that the skills you spent years mastering have quietly become outdated, replaced by lines of code and automated systems that never ask for a raise. The conversation about artificial intelligence is no longer science fiction, and it is no longer optional. It is unfolding right now, reshaping industries, redefining value, and quietly redrawing the rules of financial survival. The real question is not whether AI will replace millions of jobs by 2035. The real question is whether you are preparing yourself today to be financially untouchable tomorrow. Artificial intelligence is advancing faster than most people are emotionally ready to accept. Automation is no longer limited to factory lines and repetitive physical labor. It is drafting emails, reviewing contracts, analyzing medical scans, writing code, and even creating art. Roles that once felt secure because they required education and specialization are now being re-examined by companies looking for efficiency. Businesses do not adopt technology because it is exciting. They adopt it because it reduces cost and increases output. When an algorithm can perform in seconds what once required hours of human effort, the economic pressure to automate becomes irresistible. And when that pressure builds across industries, entire job categories begin to shift. But here is the part most people misunderstand. This is not about panic. This is about positioning. History has shown us that technological revolutions eliminate certain jobs, but they also create new ones. The printing press replaced scribes, but it gave birth to publishers. The internet replaced video rental stores, but it created digital entrepreneurs. The danger does not come from change itself. The danger comes from standing still while change accelerates. If your entire financial life depends on a single paycheck from a single employer in a rapidly evolving market, you are more exposed than you realize. Graham Stephan says that depending on a single source of income is one of the biggest financial risks you can take in a rapidly changing economy. That mindset becomes even more urgent in the age of artificial intelligence. When your income is tied to one skill set, one company, or one industry, you are placing your future in variables you cannot control. Corporate restructuring, automation upgrades, and global competition can all shift overnight. Financial resilience, on the other hand, is something you build deliberately. It is a result of strategy, not luck. The world by 2035 will reward adaptability more than loyalty. Companies will value people who can think critically, solve complex problems, and collaborate with technology rather than compete against it. The people who thrive will not necessarily be the most technical. They will be the most flexible. They will be the ones who saw the shift coming and began preparing years in advance. They will have built savings, diversified investments, and cultivated multiple streams of income long before disruption knocked on their door. Think about how most people approach their careers. They focus on getting hired, earning raises, and climbing within a system that feels stable. They assume that as long as they perform well, their position will remain secure. But performance alone cannot protect you from structural change. Entire departments can disappear even if every employee is competent. Entire industries can shrink even if every worker is dedicated. The marketplace does not operate on sentiment. It operates on efficiency and demand. This is why the conversation about AI must shift from fear to preparation. Instead of asking whether your job is safe, ask whether your finances are diversified. Instead of worrying about headlines predicting job losses, start building assets that generate income regardless of who signs your paycheck. Investments, businesses, digital assets, rental properties, dividend portfolios, and scalable online ventures are not luxuries. They are shields against uncertainty. When one stream slows, another can continue flowing. By 2035, automation may replace repetitive office tasks, certain technical support roles, data entry positions, and parts of the service industry. It may transform accounting workflows, customer service systems, and even segments of healthcare and law. But it will also increase demand for human creativity, emotional intelligence, leadership, and strategic thinking. The individuals who prepare today will not view AI as a threat. They will view it as leverage. They will learn to use tools that amplify their productivity rather than compete against them blindly. Financial security in an AI-driven world begins with awareness. Awareness leads to action. Action leads to protection. The worst possible strategy is denial. Pretending that change will not affect you is the fastest way to be caught unprepared. The second worst strategy is waiting until disruption arrives before reacting. By then, the competition for new opportunities will be intense. Those who started early will already be positioned. The next decade will test how proactive you are. It will reveal whether you chose comfort over growth or strategy over complacency. You still have time. Time to build skills that cannot be easily automated. Time to create side income streams that reduce dependency. Time to invest in assets that grow even while you sleep. But that time is shrinking with every advancement in machine learning and automation. The window to prepare before widespread disruption is open now, and what you do within it will determine whether 2035 becomes a year of opportunity or a year of regret. Most people believe disruption happens suddenly, like a storm that appears without warning. But the truth is far more unsettling, because it moves quietly at first. It begins with small upgrades, subtle software integrations, harmless productivity tools that promise to save a few minutes each day. Companies introduce AI systems to assist employees, not replace them. Workflows become smoother, tasks become faster, and profits increase. Everyone celebrates efficiency. Then something shifts. The tools that once required supervision begin operating independently. The assistant becomes the operator. The support system becomes the system itself. And by the time employees realize the difference, entire layers of roles are no longer necessary. This is where suspense enters the equation, not in dramatic headlines, but in silent transitions happening behind closed corporate doors. Boardrooms are not debating whether automation will happen. They are calculating how quickly it can be implemented without disrupting revenue. Investors are not asking if AI will reduce labor costs. They are asking how soon margins can expand. And while these conversations unfold, millions of workers continue building routines around tasks that algorithms are already learning to replicate. The unsettling part is not that technology is advancing. The unsettling part is how comfortable most people remain while it does. By 2035, the landscape of work may look familiar on the surface, but fundamentally different underneath. Offices may still exist, but fewer employees may be needed to produce the same output. Service industries may still operate, but automation could handle booking systems, logistics, and customer communication. Even technical professions that once felt immune could experience restructuring as AI accelerates research, diagnostics, and data analysis. The disruption will not necessarily appear as mass unemployment overnight. It may look like hiring freezes, contract-based work replacing full-time positions, and wages stagnating while productivity rises. And that subtle shift can be even more dangerous because it allows complacency to linger. The real threat is not losing a job instantly. The real threat is becoming gradually less valuable in a market that rewards efficiency above all else. When companies discover they can achieve the same results with fewer people, the leverage shifts away from employees. Job security weakens quietly. Negotiating power diminishes. Benefits shrink. The paycheck may continue for years, but the long-term trajectory changes direction. If you wait until the moment of replacement to take action, you will be reacting under pressure instead of preparing from strength. This is why building financial insulation must start long before disruption becomes personal. Diversification is not just an investment strategy. It is a survival strategy. When you create multiple streams of income, you reduce your exposure to any single economic shock. If automation reshapes your primary role, your side business continues generating revenue. If your industry contracts, your investment portfolio still compounds. If hiring slows, your digital assets continue scaling. Financial resilience transforms fear into flexibility because you're no longer dependent on one source of validation or income. Developing recession-resistant skills is equally critical. Skills rooted in creativity, strategic thinking, leadership, persuasion, and emotional intelligence are significantly harder to automate than repetitive technical tasks. AI can process data, but it struggles to replace human judgment in complex, ambiguous situations. It can generate information, but it cannot fully replicate authentic connection, trust building, and visionary leadership. The more you cultivate abilities that complement technology rather than compete with it, the more indispensable you become. Instead of fearing automation, you learn to harness it as a multiplier for your productivity. There's also a psychological shift required to navigate the coming decade. Many people define themselves by their job titles, and when those titles evolve or disappear, identity feels threatened. But tying identity to a single profession in a rapidly changing economy is fragile. Your value should not be anchored to one position within one company. It should be anchored to your adaptability, your financial discipline, and your capacity to generate value in multiple environments. When your confidence comes from diversified capability rather than a single role, uncertainty loses its power over you. Imagine two individuals entering 2035. One has spent the previous decade assuming stability would continue indefinitely. They focus solely on climbing within one organization, never investing outside their retirement plan, never building additional income streams, never upgrading their skills beyond immediate job requirements. The other saw a change approaching and acted deliberately. They built a strong emergency fund, invested consistently in diversified assets, experimented with side income projects, and continuously learned skills aligned with technological advancement. When disruption arrives, the first individual feels cornered. The second feels prepared. The difference is not intelligence. The difference is foresight. The suspense of the next decade lies in this simple truth. The outcome will not be determined by whether AI advances. It will advance. The outcome will be determined by how early you respond. Preparation done in calm seasons create stability in chaotic ones. The earlier you act, the more options you preserve. Waiting narrows your choices. Acting expands them. And while headlines may continue debating the scale of job replacement, the more powerful conversation is happening internally. Are you positioning yourself to benefit from technological change, or are you hoping it spares you? The window between now and 2035 is not just a timeline. It is an opportunity to transform income from singular to diversified, an opportunity to evolve from employee-only to investor and creator, an opportunity to shift from passive observer of change to active participant in it. The people who move now will not merely survive automation. They will leverage it. And those who hesitate may one day look back and realize the signs were visible all along. But comfort kept them from acting when it mattered most. The final piece of this conversation is not about technology at all, but about responsibility. Artificial intelligence will continue to evolve regardless of your opinion about it. Markets will continue to shift regardless of your comfort level. Companies will continue to optimize regardless of your loyalty. The only variable fully within your control is how you respond. Financial security in an AI-driven world is not built on prediction. It is built on preparation. You do not need to know exactly which jobs will disappear by 2035 to start strengthening your position today. You only need to accept that change is inevitable and act accordingly. Start with the foundation, financial discipline. Before building multiple income streams or investing in advanced opportunities, you must control your cash flow. Spending less than you earn creates the margin required to invest. Eliminating high-interest debt increases flexibility. Building an emergency fund buys time when uncertainty strikes. These principles are simple, but they are powerful because they create stability. Without stability, every technological shift feels catastrophic. With stability, disruption becomes manageable. Financial breathing room transforms fear into strategy because you're no longer operating from desperation. From there, move toward ownership. Ownership of investments, ownership of assets, ownership of systems that generate income independent of your daily labor. This could mean consistently investing in diversified index funds, acquiring rental properties that produce cash flow, building an online business, creating digital products, or developing intellectual property that scales beyond your hours. The exact vehicle matters less than the principle behind it. When you own assets, you're no longer trading only time for money. You are building structures that work even when you are not actively present. That shift alone dramatically reduces vulnerability to job displacement. Equally important is committing to continuous skill development. The half-life of skills is shrinking. What is valuable today may be automated tomorrow. Instead of clinging to static expertise, cultivate dynamic capability. Learn how to analyze data rather than merely input it. Learn how to manage automated systems rather than compete with them. Study communication, negotiation, marketing, leadership, and critical thinking. These are transferable skills that maintain relevance across industries. The individuals who thrive in 2035 will likely be those who treated learning as a permanent lifestyle rather than a temporary phase confined to formal education. There is also leverage in understanding technology rather than fearing it. You do not need to become a machine learning engineer to benefit from AI. You need to understand how it can increase your efficiency, expand your reach, and enhance your output. Entrepreneurs who adopt AI tools early can scale faster. Professionals who integrate automation into their workflows can deliver higher value. Investors who analyze technological trends can position capital strategically. Instead of asking whether AI will take your place, ask how you can use AI to multiply your impact. That perspective transforms disruption into opportunity. As 2035 approaches, the gap between proactive and reactive individuals will widen. Those who delayed preparation may find themselves competing intensely for fewer traditional roles. Those who diversified early may find themselves choosing among opportunities rather than chasing them. Financial resilience creates optionality. Optionality creates confidence. Confidence fuels better decision-making, and better decisions compound over time. This compounding effect is subtle at first, but powerful in the long run. Small investments made consistently. Small skills improved daily. Small side projects developed patiently can accumulate into substantial protection against uncertainty. It is important to understand that protection does not mean immunity from change. Even diversified individuals may experience setbacks. Investments fluctuate. Businesses face challenges. Industries evolve unpredictably. But resilience means setbacks are temporary rather than devastating. When one income stream slows, another continues. When one skill becomes less relevant, others remain valuable. Resilience is not about avoiding difficulty. It is about absorbing it without collapse. In an era defined by rapid technological advancement, that quality becomes priceless. The future of work will likely be more fluid than the past. Careers may involve multiple transitions instead of one linear path. Gig-based projects, remote collaborations, digital entrepreneurship, and hybrid roles could become standard. This environment rewards those who are financially prepared and mentally adaptable. It rewards those who see themselves not just as employees, but as value creators capable of operating in different ecosystems. The sooner you adopt that mindset, the stronger your positioning becomes. The conversation about AI replacing millions of jobs by 2035 is ultimately a conversation about awareness. Awareness that comfort can be temporary. Awareness that economic landscapes evolve. Awareness that relying on a single paycheck in a transforming world carries risk. But it is also a conversation about empowerment. You have time. You have access to information. You have the ability to adjust your trajectory. The next decade will pass whether you prepare or not. The only difference will be the options available to you when it does. Picture yourself standing in 2035 looking back at this moment. Will you be grateful that you took action while preparation was still optional? Or will you wish you had started sooner? Every investment you make, every skill you develop, every income stream you build between now and then is a vote for your future stability. You do not need perfection. You need progress. Consistent, deliberate progress toward diversification, ownership, and adaptability. The world is accelerating. Technology is evolving. Automation is expanding. But your response can be even more powerful. When you combine financial discipline, diversified investments, scalable income streams, and recession-resistant skills, you construct a foundation that can withstand technological storms. Instead of fearing 2035, you can approach it with confidence because you prepared intentionally. The future belongs to those who anticipate change and act before it forces their hand. If you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.